How's that? Did that work? How's that? Okay, so let me try one more thing. 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 Let's try this. Did this work as well? Can you still hear me? Aha. All right. So, so forgive me as well because I am currently in the middle of 3 or 4 projects. Of course, I'm mixing 2 DVDs and 2 DVDs, and I'm writing these 2 albums. And of course, life is difficult and chaotic for all of us. Um, and so I've been in the midst of this trying to set up a streaming situation, which I'm not completely set up for yet. But I have a lot to do and a lot to learn. So I'm still doing that, clearly. So from here, I got a couple more things I just need to solve here while we're at it. So I've got an alert box here, and that should be on top. And I have a chat box, and that should be on top. So they're both muted. So this one here and this one here are now unmuted. And this as well is... Okay. That's so cheesy. There. Okay, so now we got the chat. And okay, we got the chat and we got the board. Oh, I got some cheesy borders. So I'm going to okay, next thing here. So if you guys just chill for a second, 2 seconds. Universal audio. Universal audio. Okay. Sound on again. All right. So this is not right lighting. 2 seconds. So we've got this guy, which is right. This one's right. This one's not. So we're going to want to go this one here. I want it to aim a bit down. And okay. And let's make it this one instead. Let's try this. How's that? Is that better? Okay. And let's okay. So good morning, everyone. How does one even start? So I've been working a lot, obviously. I have been mixing these DVD that we did in London, the Roundhouse, for Volume 1. And I've been working on another concert, like a virtual concert, and I have to burp. I've been working on a virtual concert as well that, I'm not very good with keeping things that I'm excited about secret. But when we were about to do the festivals in the summer, we had the by request sets, and we had the concerts set up for, headlining Bloodstock and a lot of these bigger shows. And I had put a fair amount of preparation into trying to make that happen. However, for the foreseeable future, the chances of live shows happening is clearly very slim. So I have been trying to figure out a way to play for people. And so I've put together an interesting thing, and I'm working on it now. And so simultaneous with the Roundhouse DVD, I'm working on this other concert that is really cool, I think, like really cool. I've also been doing a couple of collaborative things, although at this particular time you get asked a fair amount to do collaborative things, and I have turned down most of them. I got those 2 lamps at IKEA, someone said. So I've been working on some things like that, and I have been working on The Moth, which has been 4 years that I've been working on The Moth. And a lot of the work that has gone into The Moth has been logistical. For example, I have to figure out the story. I have to work out the storyboard. I have to I had to learn how to use Logic. There's a good statement, but the program Logic. I've had to learn how to orchestrate in terms of orchestral instruments and at which register each instrument functions best at. I've had to relearn music theory, and the process of doing The Moth has now sort of evolved to the point where I've got a storyboard. The artist's name is Eliran Kantor, and he is a buddy, but he's also a brilliant artist, and you'll see his art everywhere, basically. If you haven't seen it, look up his stuff. But he's doing for The Moth oil painting and really sort of Divine Comedy-esque sort of black and white images. So at this point, he's been making me storyboards of the various characters, and then I've put it into a video that I then have in Logic. So as I'm working, I can see the depictions of the characters, and as I'm writing melodies and themes, I can then illustrate those characters. And that whole process of learning all these new elements, even just relearning music theory, has been a huge process. And when you compound that with, I can't figure out my fucking mic in OBS, it's interesting. I found out, okay, just as a side note, the problem there was the new version of OBS Streamlabs for Mac has got a very, very discreet mute button that the distinction between it being muted and not muted is very slight. So, hooray for figuring out something else today. So that's where the Moth is at. I've got a group of playwrights in Denmark that I've been working with who are interested in adapting the story into a live action play, basically. And as much as it has been reported that it's a musical about genitals, it is actually, that's an easy way to describe it. Basically, whenever we're looking at seeing what we see in society, so much of it has to do with power. And I think as a species, one of our primary motivations, obviously, is to reproduce. And so hand in hand with that, that biological imperative comes a lot of power grab and play. So the Moth is essentially rooted in that. And without getting too much further into it, we've got these playwrights in Denmark. I've got a screen, I don't know what the best term is, but someone I'm trying to get to produce this, someone who is interested in producing this, and he's based in Mumbai. And the idea is to make this Moth project a very comprehensive and really intense project. However, I don't want to rush it. I don't want to rush anything anymore. And I feel that as a result of that, the other music that has been coming into my frame of mind, of which there's been a lot, has been best served as a separate project. So I will be working on that. So I'm about 6 songs into that. And I had originally started it thinking it was going to be just a series of demos. But it is not now. And I have been working with a lot of people on that project. I don't know what I'm going to call it. I've been calling it light work or light work for the time being. Whether or not that sticks, I have no idea. But I've got an aesthetic in mind for it that is very clean and very different than Empath. And I think that maybe what is a good creative idea for me at this point is to not present the Moth as the next main project, but rather do this light work one as the next one. And it's a very cool process. And so there's those 2 albums, and then there's the Roundhouse DVD, which is a fantastic thing. It really is a fantastic thing. But I also had to sort of shift my frame of mind around that, because the idea with that Volume 1 concert was to do it without backing tracks, to do it without click tracks, to do it with live players. You know, it's 10 people on stage. And if you saw it in Europe, it was closer to the vision that we had. And in America and Canada, it was in the ballpark, but we didn't have the capital to pull it off with the screens and the choirs and Marcus and what have you. But we managed to capture that one at the Roundhouse. And so I've been working on that. And the mix for that is very interesting, actually, because it's not a typical DVD for me where there's, we've got the backing track and everything's to a grid and there's no variations in any of it. It's completely this organic thing. And at first I was trying to wrap my head around it because I'm so controlling to a certain extent when it comes to the vision of the music that I'm thinking, wow, I don't know how to approach the mix for this. And at first I start adding samples to the drums or what have you. But then by pulling it back and just making it completely organic and as opposed to fixing anything, just make it like that's what this was. And it's turned out to be beautiful. But to juxtapose that, I've made this other DVD that I'm going to do with green screen, that we've got a virtual stage. And I've taken that best of set that had been suggested for the Bloodstock show, and I'm turning that into a best of concert that includes everything, the strapping stuff and the DTP stuff, and I've got 3 other musicians that are going to be on that who have been going crazy trying to learn this stuff and then film themselves in a green screen environment. And that's been nuts, man. And then you compound that with, so I rewired the studio and, I don't know if you guys are aware, but life in society is a little fucked up right now. So there's that too. I'm sure you don't know. I don't know what organic means and not referring to an organism. All right, so let's see. Yeah, that's why Sam is painted. Yeah, okay, so I might as well just say it doesn't make any difference. So I was looking for players for this green screen best of concert that could do it super accurately in juxtaposition to the Volume 1 concert, which is really, let's try to get all this right, which is really organic, like super organic. Like everything is by a thread, and I love it. But I also, the other side of my creative personality is like, I want the music to be like perfect. I want it to be exactly what it should be. And I like both of those things, right? So I got Samus to play drums. I got Wes Hauk to play guitar, and I got Liam Wilson to play bass. And they're all currently going bananas, not only figuring out how to play these 15 songs, but also how do we green screen ourselves and how do we do it? It's like crazy, right? But what I did was we had done an online poll for Bloodstock and Hellfest that was supposed to be happening like now, I guess, about what is it that people wanted to hear. And we took all the songs, and from the whole catalog, from Strapping, from DTP, from everything. And then I took those top 12, 15 songs, and that's what the by request set is. So working on these 2 projects simultaneously is actually great for me because on one hand, the Volume 1 is very selfish. It's exactly what I wanted to do. I've got the choir and the beach theme, and it's what I do, right? And Keneally and Morgan and Marcus Reuter and Che and Diego and Nathan and Samantha and Anne and Arabella. It's we had the screens and the whole works. So working on these together is like really good for my brain actually, because I can go between this thing that's like loose and unpredictable to this thing that's like laser focus and super tight. And I think that's a great way for me to at least continue with the idea of here's what I do live and here's some live stuff for everybody. And then again, once I stop that, I'll start working on this Lightworker project that is really cool because it's very clean and bizarre. The idea with the Lightworker project, and I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but for now, is I always like the idea of how do you make choruses and not commercial but accessible music, and then put it in the framework of something that's just bizarre, like something that is sonically, melodically, harmonically, like bizarre. Yeah, I'm clean and bizarre. This is true, and so I've been working on that for that music, and I'm actually really enjoying that. And I've been contacted by a couple of people that were sort of unexpected to sort of show up in my life, and they're participating in it too, which is crazy, right? In the middle of midsummer celebration, 3 days of cottage drinking. All right. So now that I'm kind of finished my spiel for where I'm at, compounded with the fact that setting up for streams and everything is really cool, but I also don't want to do it if I'm in like a completely fucked up frame of mind. And the last couple of weeks have been really difficult, right? I'm sure it's been the same for all of you. I can't imagine that it hasn't been. And I think amidst trying to sort of contend with the requirements of life at this point and the bizarreness of this whole time, I don't want to use my social media platform as an avenue for me to make things worse for people. I know that we're all dealing with the same shit, and so I'm hoping that my work can be productive for people and helpful in some way. So I also did the guitar improv stuff, which is fun, but let's see. Don't want to do streams if I'm fucked up. That's why I don't do streams anymore, someone says. Yeah, I get that. And I think that's the thing also, where you, I think it's tempting to use the platform of social media or whatever just to sort of project your trip onto people. But I don't know if that, at least for me, I don't know if that's going to help people. And my intention ultimately is to help. And so if I'm just coming onto a stream thing or whatever and just being like, everything's fucked up, I don't know if that helps anymore, right? Sensitive question here. You've talked and sang about pornography in the past. How did you cope, get past it? Well, it's hard in lockdown as well, right? I think the biggest thing for me, and I find it very difficult as well to give any advice, because my criteria or my credentials for giving any advice is the fact I play guitar. So you might want to take anything that someone like myself says with a grain of salt. But I think that for me, in light of trying to figure out where I'm at as a musician, it requires me sort of getting as close to my clarity as I can. And everything that I think we ingest, social media, pornography, anything, alcohol, drugs, anything that we ingest is going to change how you perceive your trip, right? So I think for me, it's more about keeping my eye on the prize, and that prize is trying to be as clear with my musical vision as I can. However, that being said, I mean, life changes and sometimes you slip, and I think that's cool too. To a certain extent, I think that the whole process of learning to forgive yourself while keeping your eye on the prize is a big thing. So, I'd say just take it easy on yourself and work towards it. It's okay, I think, to fall back every now and then, but I think if you consistently start falling back, then that's when things need to be reevaluated. For me, I just got a lot of things in my life going on, so I tend to, my biggest battle, I think, in terms of addiction is work. I tend to be very focused on what I do, but it's also very easy for me to mistake that focus for importance. And then when there are things in your life that demand your attention, your parents or your kids or all these things, I think it's very easy to divert that focus and use it as an excuse to not deal with things. So how I've been trying to contend with that is every day at 5 I go for a walk. And I had been doing physical exercise, of course, for many years, like resistance training and things like this. But I find that as I get older, my joints were getting really, really messed up to the point where I started thinking that maybe my connection to physical exercise wasn't to do myself any favors, but it was more based out of vanity. So I stopped doing that and I went back to yoga, which is really hard for me because my body is just so stiff, essentially. But there's this video series on YouTube that I've been doing, 30 days, yoga for 30 days or whatever. So I do that in the evening. And that helps as well. And I think just dragging myself away from my work has been, again, very therapeutic for me, right? Do you keep an eye on the Facebook fan page? I've never been on Facebook. I've never been on Facebook. I actually went on Facebook once, maybe 8 years ago. And within the first 30 seconds, somebody sent me a text saying, "Hey, we went to kindergarten together." And I was like, "Oh, fuck this, man." All right. So I'm looking here. So how do I make this smaller, this chat smaller? Because it's just not yours, the one that I see, because I've just got these massive things coming up and it's hard to keep in touch. All right. So I I have plans for the stream. And again, it's like I woke up this morning and my thought was just like, oh, I don't want to do it today. You know, I just, it's like you wake up in these frames of mind. I find that I read a tweet the other day I thought was great too. Someone said, waking up and getting out of bed are two entirely different negotiations lately. And I totally hear that. But I woke up this morning and I thought, oh, I don't want to do this. Not because I don't want to perform or say hi or whatever. Just I want to make sure that, again, when I do it, it's for the reason of providing something that is not just, misery, right? Not that it was miserable, but I just was like, man, some days, right? But that being said, the idea with these streams eventually, and, I think we got a lot of time here, guys. So I think that if it takes me a longer period of time to kind of get my shit together for these streams, I don't think that's going to be a huge problem for any of us, because I don't think many of us are going anywhere. We had a year's worth of touring that got completely shut down, and then every couple of days now they're just like, oh, that's shut down now. Every day, You guys hearing the guitar now too, I would imagine, right? Have I ever fallen out of love with playing guitar, somebody asks. Yeah, it's crazy actually how that happens. I find I have these patterns that I go through as a musician too. I think any of you who are an artist can relate to this as well, where the process, you get a moment of creative inclination that you think, oh, that's actually a really cool aesthetic or a vision that I would like to follow. And then as you're working through it, you've got this moment where you're like, oh, this is great. I can't wait to do this. This is fantastic. And then what I will do is I'll go on a week-long tear or a 2-week-long tear. So if you remember just a couple of weeks back, I told everybody online, and I had requested from management and label and everything. I said, I got 2.5 weeks. I've got 8 songs I want to get out of my system. And for the first week, I was on fire. Like every day, I was just writing and just coming up with stuff that I thought was fucking great. And then one day I went for a drive and listened to it, and I was like, oh, I hate all of this. You know what I mean? And so then I spent 3 days, and I'm sure you can relate to this too. I spent 3 days going, well, what else can I do for a living? What else can I do professionally? What else am I good at? And I went for a walk, and I found a piece of wood, and I made a walking stick. And so there was this period where I was convinced that that's what I would do, is I would make walking sticks. I would cut pieces of wood and sand them down, and I'd sell. Yeah, that's where I was at. And then I was talking to a buddy, and he's like, "How you doing?" I'm like, man, it's been a fuck of a week, and I tend to struggle with trying to sometimes, just kind of keep that creative flow going in a way that is not only interesting to me, but also congruent with something that I can get behind. So I'm just not phoning it in for the audience. And I told him, I was like, maybe I'll just make walking sticks. And he's like, so let me get this straight. After 30 years of being a musician and a singer and a guitar player, and it was such a fantastic fan base and the whole thing, you're going to make sticks. That's what you're going to do now. You're going to make sticks. So with a bit of a wake-up call, I ended up making one walking stick, and I gave it to my dad. So I'm not making sticks now, guys. I'm back to making music after 2 days of kicking rocks around. But I mean, I'm sure it's the same with everybody. You know, it's like the whole thing. Did I tell him to stick it? Yes. Devin umbrellas. I don't know about that. Did I sign it? Oh my God, right? Let's see. I watched a video of the 5.1 mixing from the Empath. I wonder how long it'd take the process of mixing. The process of making the Empath 5.1 took me 6 months or more. So, in the fine tradition of me rambling whenever somebody asks me a simple question, but I assume that if you're here, you're probably aware of that and don't particularly mind. So, every idea that I get tends to snowball into something absurd. So, something as simple as I think I'll make a 5.1 mix of the Empath record. Ended up with a 6-month, very expensive, fastidious project that I spent huge amounts of time on. I ended up remixing the whole record. But I think that old adage of if something is worth doing, it's worth doing well or correctly is very important. And so as I started that process, one song, I forget which one it was, I think it was Evermore, became really good. And everything else was like not quite as good. So I was like, well, the height that Evermore has gotten to is worth pursuing in the other songs. And then I got those ones to the same level. And then I had learned a few tricks about the 5.1 process. And then I applied that to Evermore. And then Evermore got better. And then that started this other chain reaction of everything needs to come up, everything needs to come up, everything needs to come up. And then by the end of it, after giving the original estimate of, this is going to take me a week and a half to do, I was calling up the label and calling up management, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I got to do this. I got to invest into this one, and I got to make it right, and I got to do this. And by the time it was done, I figure I got it 85, 90% of where I wanted it to be. And that 10% will forever bug me, but that's okay because now I'm working on new stuff, and I can have that bug me now. All right. It also features a space cat. Yeah. Okay, so how do I pause this chat for me? Do I press this button here? Let's see. Okay, chat paused due to scroll. All right, so. Yes, so I did get a new camera. I got a GoPro. But, okay, so, yes, I'm old in a lot of ways, specifically age-wise. And there's a lot of people, probably people here, who have been alive for less time than I've been doing this professionally. So, hey. And with that sort of being a little older thing comes the assumption that, yes, when I'm working on technology, maybe I'm a little bit behind the 8 ball. But I would say, as devil's advocate and in my defense, man, I've had to learn a lot of shit. So something as simple as getting a GoPro, because I'm thinking, okay, I can't get when this whole lockdown first started, I couldn't find a webcam that was 4K or the quality I was looking for. They were all sold out. Everybody had them sold out. So I thought, okay, well, what would be a solution? So I was looking online. I was like, well, GoPro does 4K. So without investigating it further, because I had also just on the surface read that it did streaming, I purchased a GoPro. And then only to get it back and realize that it doesn't do streaming through your OBS without an intermediate. So I looked it up. I was like, okay, so what do we need? We need a capture card. Looked it up. Every capture card ever had been sold out. Ever. I couldn't find them anywhere. And then the one that seemed to be the most appropriate for me was this one called Camlink, the Camlink 4K, because I'm on Mac and what have you. Sold out everywhere. So I finally found one that someone was selling in New York at a highly inflated price. But in order to continue doing this, I and to do the concerts and all these things, I needed to get a capture card. So I bit the bullet and I purchased it from the guy and brought it in. And then it needs another cable, and then all these little things become time consuming, of course. But I'm giving myself credit because I feel that the amount of things that I've kind of been learning is my ticket to avoiding early onset Alzheimer's as I careen into old age. All right. So here I am reading more questions. All right. I hear there's sticks in here, right? Is Samus working on Z3? I haven't started Z3. Okay. So, again, here's me talking, and I guess that's what this is for on some level. Full disclosure. In life, as in work, I need to experience things to know how I feel about it. So a lot of things I try, and just to see what happens. And then I'll just sort of throw it against the wall and see what works. And that has included podcasts, streaming, bands, albums, concepts, everything. And I wish I had the presence of mind to be able to know immediately upon trying it how I feel about something. But I don't know how I feel about things until I've tried it. Ziltoid, for example. First one, I had a lot of momentum on that. I was like, okay, I've got enough ideas for this that I feel that if I can pursue it until there's a certain level of completion, upon seeing it, I'll be able to recognize how I feel about it, on an emotional level. And by the time it was done, I was confused by it. And here's another thing, even when I looked at Alien, the album Alien, which is, supposed to be the next podcast, and which is one of the main reasons why I just don't want to do it yet. I will. But I mean, it's like I had, I received a certain amount of blowback from the podcasts as well, for numerous reasons. But I still hold to the fact that I'm doing it for a reason that I think is productive, not only for me, but for the people who are participating in it. But Alien, God, just the idea of diving into that, I'm like, fuck that, man. Like there's so many other things that I could do in a day. But Alien was another example of something that I had these inclinations as to what that creative path would yield. So I followed it. And then just like the empath ultimate thing, I was like, okay, now this is at that level, so everything else has to come to this level. And now that I've learned something about this, then this has to go higher. Now I've learned something about this, now this has to go higher. And then by the end of it, I've got something that is accurate, is the only word I can use to describe it. But then by the end, I listened to it, and I was like, oh, fuck. I don't want to live with that for the next 2 years. And it's the same thing with Ziltoid, same thing with podcasts, same thing with everything. I have these ideas and I pursue them, and then the inclination to pursue them to their ultimate end becomes compulsive, which, going back to the questions about pornography or anything, is my motivation for trying to keep myself as mentally clear as I can, because I feel that if I have a creative inclination, it requires me to be unconscious about its creation. And if you're unconscious and you're driven by these things that are potentially going to lead you in a direction that is going to create art and work that you're not comfortable with, I mean, it's something to certainly consider during the whole process. But I also feel that one of my crosses to bear is that I'm very difficult on myself. I'm very hard on myself. And I think that learning to fail efficiently has been a cornerstone to my process. Because for many years I was just like, oh, I'm a fucking idiot. I remember going to a psychiatrist years ago, and she was like, "Do you have a mantra?" And I was like, "Well, what's that?" She says, "Well, something that you repeat to yourself." And I was like, "Yeah, actually, my mantra is I'm a fucking idiot." And she's like, "Well, you can't have that as your as your mantra." And fortunately, my self-talk has improved dramatically since that point. Okay, so getting on to some more questions here. How old is everybody here? I see there's people who are 34, 45, half a century, 26. I'm 48. So someone says I'm 33, 54, 28. Wow, look at all these names. Are these... What's your favorite thing to do to relax? Man, look at all this. Is there anything that still frightens you creatively? Yeah, I think the thing that frightens me most creatively at this point is the fact that the ultimate end of this creative path that I have chosen to pursue is one where I have nothing more that I feel needs to be said. And so my goal is ultimately the thing that I fear the most, because we all need a job. I mean, clearly that's very important. Families and businesses and all these sorts of things. So if the thing that I've been in pursuit of for my entire career ultimately leads to me having nothing to say that I think is worth saying, I mean, that's a problem. And I think the other side of that coin is if you then pursue things that cause you problems based on simply having the desire to have art in your life, like creating drama for yourself just so you can have something to write about, that is also ridiculous to me. I think that, I was talking to a friend about this the other day, and he said, well, look at the world. Like, how can you not have things to say? And I think that the biggest, and I'm obviously just like confused, but I think that I'm also uninformed. And I think that working to inform yourself is a very difficult task in this day and age, because everything is suspicious in a sense for its authenticity. Maybe not everything, but you know my point. And I have also recognized that the nature of my work requires a certain degree of empathy, like a certain degree of being able to relate to others. And I can have a very firm point of view, and then somebody comes up with an opposing point of view that is based in some sort of logic that I hadn't considered, and it's very easy for me to be like, it's a good point. So that's my biggest fear with it. So let's see, if I had, how can I do this? I haven't sang in months. Well, that's not true. That's not true. Can I put some verb on me? There we go. So, I don't know what I could do here that would be appropriate for everybody to hear. Let's see, what have we got here? What sort of sounds have we got? I could go back to this, I guess. Let's see. So that is going to a different output. So now I can send that there. And then this here could probably go to a different, let's see. Just give me a second. And then this here, which patch? I don't remember which patch is which anymore. So many things to learn. Okay, so this patch is also not the one that I want. So I wonder if I went to this one. That have something that is like, let's see. No. Join me on my stream as I scroll through patches. That's what I'm looking for, right? So, it's the most extreme part of this stream, someone says. I don't doubt that. So, I don't know. You guys want to hear something? I don't know what I can give to you here today. Let's see. Whatever comes to mind, it says. Am I going to work with Vegard, Isan, in the future? I don't know. I don't have a lot of plans to work with many people at this point. I got asked by a couple of people recently to participate with them, and very, very cool people, but I just don't want to. So somebody had asked last time for noisy pink bubbles, but I got to figure it out. So maybe if I had a phone, I could hear the original song. Let's see. So I do have a phone, strangely. You and I will never be falling for reality. Okay, so noisy pink bubble. Noisy pink bubble.
Eat less meat without giving up on it. Introducing 50/50 from Maple Leaf.
Fucking ads, man. All right. You and I will never be reality. Oh, you and I and every be falling for reality. Oh. That's it. Ooh, you and I, it's never me falling through alcohol. You and I never be you for you and all for you. All right. That's right. That's it. All right. That's right. One of my favorite performances Gene ever did. This song. Sorry, I'm just learning the song. You're just joining, right? Right. Yeah, this is Gene. You never. Yeah, Gene was really. This is my favorite thing that he did, that we did together, because he just had a 5-piece kit. the face when they're starting to go. They never could tell by his face he was starting to go. These are my dreams away, and you take all my time, and you take all the words away, and all I can say is day after day, God, I know. The song was about drugs, I think. Weed. And also the situation, of course. It's like how it's very projecting yourself as insane is an easy place to hide. Okay, I'm almost ready. Then it goes down a step. All right, so that's how it goes. Man, after all these records, it's hundreds and hundreds of songs. I don't remember any of them most of the time. Like, oh, you and I ever be falling for reality. All right, 2 seconds. Yeah, it wasn't, I mean, the song is not, it's not about drugs. The whole period that Infinity existed in was one that was just, I was trying to escape me. Oh, you and I never be falling for reality. Oh, you and I, every being falling for reality. Oh, oh, you and I must never mean falling into alcohol. You and I, you for you and all for you. All right. That's what it was. You never could tell by the face and the stars starting to go. They never could tell by his face he was starting to go. And you make all my words go away, and you help me do time, and you make all the dreams go away. All I can say is it's day after day, God, I know. Fine, fine. 'cause it's day after day, God, I know. Fine, fine, just leave me alone. Just let me go away. Go. I don't remember it. I'll learn it. It's always the lyrics. It's like the little bits of it that you're just like, someone asked for Thing Beyond Things. I don't even remember how. Ah. I'm gonna turn this up just a touch. Let's see. Let me see. This one here. I don't have the sounds for it. That's all right. Fuck it. I don't remember any of my own tunes. I'm working on the new stuff. What's the first line? Once when I was young, I used to dream for hours and hours. I dreamed the world that wasn't small. That's right. And I'd travel to a valley where under trees and earth I'd set my girl, and I knelt down by her head and lay roses in her hair, and I kissed her gently. But is this what you are? As the sun sets in my eyes, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. And I know this one's a lie. The woman inside of me is the oldest wound that I've nursed along. So don't try to get inside. These things inside are wrong, things beyond things. It's sick now. It's rotten to the core. Its eyes bulge and gaze at me lovingly, and I remember this smell from my dreams, except it was sweeter than now. And even in this room where I used to lock my secrets, starting to smell just like my friend. And I told you not to breathe, so now I sit and watch the rain. I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. And I know this one's the dark, and the woman side of me is the oldest fear that I've nursed along. So don't try to get inside. These things inside are all just things. Is that in a different tuning? Is it in D? Oh, it is. Oh, it's in D. It's in C today. All the times I've seen you play acoustic, I've been too afraid to yell out Little Pig. Little Pig was a song that came at night. It was one of those dream songs. I don't even remember how it goes. How does Little Pig go? I have no idea how it goes. My head's full of new music, but the new music is still kind of in the process of being done, right? I do like the idea, though, of why did you stop, someone says. What do you think of Focal? I really like them. They show all the warts. Would you ever play Radial Highway? Sure. Is there a song behind Texada? A story. Play something that rocks harder than me after 12 weeks in quarantine. All right, so what would be a heavy thing I could play for you? I have to put on a heavy sound, though. Let's see. I don't even know. I had said also recently that I was like, I only think about quiet things. That's not true. I think about heavy things too, but it's all has to play ball with each other. All right, so. Whoa! Yeah! Yeah! I think a lot of the parts for the music that I write are interdependent on each other. It makes it difficult. Man, Deadhead is so tired now. I've played that song so many fucking times. Somebody suggested Gump. I don't remember what the lyrics are. Down, bow, yeah, wow, yeah, bow, yeah. Words, words, words. The body, oh. Words, words. There we go. This works, someone says, right? Super Crush is in B. I gotta get a B guitar. 2 seconds. See, I know what tune that fucking song's in. 2 seconds. So. One of the weirdest things that about this whole thing is all the gear that I had is in Dallas now. Like, the majority of my gear is in Dallas because we had to leave that night, right? Don't fall in line, but if you're thinking that you're gonna, you should maybe think about a reason in your own mind. You've already gone evil. What? I don't wanna save my soul now. Yeah. I just wanna lose control. Lights on. Hang on a second. Bam. Oh, lights are burnt out. Oh, no, they're there. Oh, even if it takes our lifetime to learn, I'll learn. I'll learn. Wait, I don't know. It's another song. Juno, I don't know any of this. Oh, heck. Almost again. How about we try almost again? Sure. 2 seconds. My whole intention is to make you happy. I want you to be happy. It's oh, regulator. Oh, regulator. All times and all. All times and all. No rhythm whatsoever. Hang on a second. So, 2 seconds. I just gotta turn up the gitter, or conversely turn down the vocals. All right, so. What's he at? Is that it? So you're leaving. So you're on your own. Almost again. Almost again. Almost again. I have seen your reason. Now you're on your own. Almost again. Almost again. Almost again I have slow at the speed of sound I will be found. Whoa! At the speed of light I will be found. Will be sighted. At the speed of sound. At the speed of sound. There you go. Abridged version. Wait a second. All right, let's see. Someone said, "Eah." Someone said, "Oh my fucking God," backwards. How does even fucking "Oh my God" go? backwards, it would be like. Let's do EA instead. Hang on a second. So. I got a tune. Oh, it's in standard. Oh, yeah? God on high, hear my prayer in my need. You have always been there. He is young, he's afraid. Let him rest. Oh, wait. Heaven blessed. And if I die, let me die. Let him live. Bring him home. Bring him home. Bring him home. I could just plug it into a tuner, but fuck it. Oh, as everything in life comes together now, I need your mind. And everything is light. Ever tuned for acoustic, right? I remember now, I see you rise. And all the lonely things seem to wanna change. I'll sleep on it tonight. Someone said they're holding up 3 lighters. I'm into it. We don't even understand. Something's going on. We don't even understand. So how could this be wrong? could I ever be untrue? Am I with you with everything I do? From your weird Uncle Dev. God, I love you. I love you. In a platonic stranger sort of baby. Baby! Oh, we don't even understand. Something's going on. We don't even understand. So how could this be wrong? E, 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 We don't know or care. Something's always there. We see it's in our hands, but we just don't understand. Never call, never call. Hey everybody, I know how depressing times are. I know how bizarre things are. Again, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think the biggest thing we can do for each other is to not let it break us. So I'm happy to sing for you whenever I get a chance. And I've got a ton of music that I'm working on and a ton of live things. It's going to be really cool. And I think that it's just, again, really important to remember that as crazy as things are, there's a lot of good things. And maybe some of those good things are even as simple as having the time to sort of self-reflect, right? What time is it here? Man, I've been on for a while. Holy crap. I gotta go. I got so much life stuff that needs to be done today. You guys are great. Thank you so much. Please enjoy. I got a lot of stuff coming out. I feel bad about the amount of stuff that has come out, but that's why I try and juxtapose it with a bunch of free stuff as well, just so it doesn't feel like my intention is purely to try and sell shit to people. That being said, there's a ton of stuff coming out, and we're putting a ton of effort into it for it to be good. So you guys have a great week. I'm going to keep working. Remember the good things when the times get weird, you know. Lots of love. See you soon.